Okay.
It's a
I guess it's my turn.
rare opportunity where you get selective.
I was always picked last in dodgeball. JK, that was you. Anyways,
Me.
the final segment of reviewing last night's games, the Denver Nuggets versus the Sacramento Kings. The Denver Nuggets win 132 to the Sacramento Kings 123. The game was at Denver, so a home game for them. And the star of the show, no doubt, Nikola Jokic, 35, 22, and 17. That is 35 points, 22 rebounds, 17 assists on hyper-efficient shooting. And I think he had 1 steal and 2 blocks to go along with it as well.
I think almost 55-foot shot as well.
Yeah, Omair, obviously a lot to unpack in this game. High scoring, so there's multiple players to talk about. Every Nugget starter had over 15 points. So feel free to unpack other things. But is Jokic human? What are we seeing? Is this the best season we've seen this century? Like, sort of contextualize what you think of this season from Jokic. Jokic as a player, and just what this game represented for his legacy and for his game.
I mean, to answer the question, no, I don't know if this guy is human. But to be serious, if we look at contextualizing what this man is doing right now, he is truly making an argument for himself as an all-time great. I think he started that argument as soon as he won that chip 2 years ago. But to play as well as he did last season, to win MVP again, even with voter fatigue working against him, and this year, absolutely, I think he should be MVP. When Jokic came up, when he won his first MVP, I wasn't that much of a fan. I was more a Giannis guy. I really just didn't like his game that much. It didn't really resonate with me. But to see what he's been doing, how he continues to dominate the 2020s, this new decade, it's his decade. He has that 1 chip, the MVPs, and it's the way he's playing. Like, even if you want to give the MVP to SGA, I mean, the market thinks, with voter fatigue, SGA has it. I disagree. I say screw voter fatigue, okay? Because what Joker is doing is just absurd. These stat lines, he's doing it day in and day out. It's like every week, like once a week, you can bet on it. I don't know if they let you do that because they let you gamble on anything nowadays. But you can predict some out of this world stat line for Jokic, and it's the ease with which he does it. He truly had the fundamentals of the game down. Like you can say whatever you want, but we've seen real guys who don't know basketball, who don't b-ball IQ or skill wise, get by with their just phenomenal athleticism. Jokic isn't one of them. Okay, he is tall, he is strong, but he leverages his physicals in such an amazing way that he makes it look easy. I mean, you talk about some of the best offensive players we've seen. One guy who I also think looks easy is Paul George, but you can only make it look easy when you're really that skilled. So for me, Jokic is just absurd. He's truly making an all-time argument up there with the likes of Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Where I have him, I can't say yet, especially I need to see if he can win any more chips. But what he's doing in the regular season is just absurd. He's a better passer than all 3 of them. He's scoring like them. And if you factor in errors, look at the guys that Kareem was playing against, now with the guys Jokic is playing against, I mean, you can make the argument. So he's truly one of the all-time best centers in the league. I think I can say he's top 5 comfortably. He's a top 5 center of all time.
Of all time?
Yeah, I think I can make the argument. Because we got Hakeem, we got Kareem, we got Shaq.
Okay.
Tim Duncan's a 4.
You got Tim Duncan and KG as 4s?
Yeah, they're both 4s.
Okay. And where do you get Wilt Chamberlain?
See, Wilt, I'll put Jokic over Wilt. I don't care. I don't care about the stats. 100 points, I don't give a damn, okay? If Jordan played against plumbers, which I do and believe in, okay, he wasn't playing against studs. Who was Wilt playing against? It's the 60s, damn it. Like, they weren't really that good at basketball. Much respect to Wilt. The athleticism, bro was a literal Greek god in the NBA. But still, I look at competition. For me, competition is a big deal. And I know I'm not talking out my ass. Like, for the 60s, they had plumbers. But even now in the modern NBA, the player keeps getting better. You look at, like, the way you guys are coming up, AAU all the time, playing year-round. NBA players' sons, they're all coming to the league. Steph Curry. Because when your father's a hooper or NBA hooper, it's easier to get in the league and easier to be better than he ever was. So we're seeing more and more of that. More money being injected into these young kids to help them develop. Right? You didn't have that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It wasn't a thing. So, absolutely the competition Jokic is playing against is much more steep than Wilt Chamberlain. So, yeah, I am comfortable saying Jokic over Chamberlain. And then
what's the best center Jokic has played against? Can't be Embiid since he ducks that smoke.
Oh, yeah. So if you really care about center to center matchup, that's an argument you could make, but still it doesn't matter anything for Wilt Chamberlain. He did play against Bill Russell, but at the end of the day, they're two dudes in the 60s. It's a different era. So I still have Jokic over Chamberlain, even if you look at the center to center matchup.
And over Bill Russell?
Yes.
Despite the 11 rings?
Yes. Give me a ring is cool, but for me, I don't. When I look at how far ago that was, for me, I always give them the flowers as greats. But I'm going to take Jokic over them. And that's just me. 'Cause that's how I value the game and how I look at it. But I still give them the flowers. No disrespect to either one of them. And honestly, if you want to do top 5, those 3 guys I mentioned. Hakeem, Kareem, obviously you got to have them top 5. Shaq. Then you have Jokic. Then Wilt. And then Russell right outside the top 5. Or you can switch Russell and Chamberlain however you want it. I don't really care. So that's my thing with Jokic. So I'm just going to say it out because I've thought it through. Jokic is definitely a top 5 center of all time. So then next, we talk about the game in general. Let's get back to the present. I'm sure you'll have your thoughts on Jokic. This is the Nuggets. I think Braun played really well, Christian Braun. I don't think it's something that we're going to see consistently occurring, especially the goal is to have AG back from minutes restriction and have him starting. But I think Braun is a solid coming off the bench or, like a hybrid bench starter. When you look at the minutes, something like Westbrook's doing right now, where he's off the bench, but he's playing tons of minutes. Braun fits that role well. I really love his cutting. One of those guys who's playing off Jokic well. I'm sure he will earn a pretty penny from this ability. In transition, too, I like what he was doing in transition. I like what he was doing in transition. The Kings really couldn't keep up with him. As always, my boy Beastbrook, 18 points. Playing well. We're seeing resurgence from Westbrook. Just the IQ, the ability to play off Jokic. I'm just loving what I'm seeing. Is just fantastic. Jokic truly is a floor raiser. He's making me a fan out of Westbrook, which is absurd to me. Now on the Kings side, I have to mention there's nothing I can do. I can't run away from it. De'Aaron Fox now had a good game. You guys know I am a fan of De'Aaron Fox. The only thing I can say is that he took a pretty hard fall. That's how we got the glute soreness. I know some people like to make jokes about the glute soreness, but he did take a hard fall. Triple J, being a little sloppy in his defensive abilities. So Fox took that fall. And then another thing is Fox didn't really deal with injuries that much. His last 2 seasons, he played 70-plus games. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass, because coming from an injury can always be hard. Next, DeRozan. So DeRozan, the really, everyone's talking about the coach. I don't really care about the coach. Like, cool, vibes are good, love that. You change it up a little bit. But the main reason they're winning is DeMar DeRozan is playing much better. At the start of the season, the brother was trying to become a foreman, trying to build a house with all the bricks he was laying. Because the thing with DeRozan, people have to remember, he's a midi assassin, but not really. Okay, he didn't hold a candle to guys like KD, for example, in the mid range.
Or Cade Cunningham.
Actually, yeah, Cade Cunningham is mid-range stud. D-Book, if you will. The main thing with DeRozan is a fantastic driver and finisher. He's one of the best slashers we have in the league, which he then accentuates with the midi game. But don't get it twisted. Without that slashing game, he's a shell of his former self. And we saw that his rim attempts were down, his rim efficiency was down, and then the free throws. He draws a lot of free throws. Not just off the pump fake, okay? Pump fake in the midi, jump into the body, but just when you drive a lot, you get free throws. So to see those free throws down, that tells me he's struggling to drive. He's struggling to get people to bite on his midi pump fake. And I was never surprised, because the Kings were a team last year struggling with spacing, right? Struggling to get guys like Fox and Mongoing, who are great slashers. And you get a guy who can't shoot a 3 to save his life. So that was really...
Oh, they got De'Aaron Fox?
Come on, man. Come on now. He can shoot 3 sometimes. He can shoot 3 sometimes.
No, he can't.
Yes, he can.
No,
last season, look at the beginning of last season, 40% three-point shooter.
Just go look at this 2-week sample size. He was shooting 3s in that time for sure.
Bro, your sense of time is really weird. I tell you the first half of an NBA season, and you tell me 2 weeks. That really explains why you probably think 5 minutes is a long time. That's really weird. So that's DeRozan. But now he's having a resurgence, playing really well.
You thought you ate. You thought you ate and left no crumbs.
He's playing really well. So that's a big reason why the Kings are winning. He's playing well. And that's another thing you have to remember with De'Aaron Fox is he's taking him a back seat to let DeRozan flourish.
Yeah, that 24 shots back seat, by the way. Most field goal attempts on the team, by the way. 7 of 24, lowest field goal percentage in the history of the game, by the way.
History of the game? Get out of here. Get out of here. But
you'd have to fact check
But
me.
I'm not tripping, though, because remember, I've been a De'Aaron Fox and DeMonte Sabonis fan. The box score beast, as always, played amazingly last night. He remained the centerpiece of this team. Defensively, we've talked about the way he plays pick and roll. He can play drop coverage while also coming up because he is nimble enough to do something like that. Something like Gobert could never do, playing up in the pick and roll. But
he literally does that, by the way.
Not much.
Just let us know you don't watch Minnesota basketball.
Gobert loves playing drop coverage.
Dude,
he rarely comes up.
He literally plays drop, then he comes up because his perimeter defender got absolutely smoked, forces the pass, then recovers back to the paint, gets a block.
Except when it matters. Except when it matters in the playoffs. So that's good to know. But anyway, I digress. Let's stay on topic. You know. So Sabonis, good defensive play. The offense was great to see. The passing 8 assists, that's great. He's always been a strong playmaker. You know, Jokic at the top of the game, Sabonis somewhere in the middle. Just love his playmaking. Better than guys like Sengun. This just proves it again for me. I don't think Sabonis could be an all-star because of how the West front court is stacked. But the way the rankings came out, he was way too low. He's absolutely above Sengun, above Triple J, and there's a couple other guys as well. Better than J-Dub, no doubt. I don't care. Last night J-Dub had a 30-piece, but you look at the whole season, Sabonis is better.
Oh my god. Bro.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on Jokic in the game overall. I'm sure this guy has a lot to say, so I'm gonna give the floor to him.
Listen, let me just start with the Sabonis point. Actually, it's interesting that you said there's no way he can be an all-star because Kings fans have been talking about this. The only player to have an average of something like 24, 6, and 7 in the history of the NBA game as a center is Wilt Chamberlain and Domantas Sabonis. So he's putting up numbers that are pretty crazy.
If they did positionally, I think he would definitely be a center all-star. But they have front court.
There's like some sort of exception because obviously Jokic should have averaged something like that. But he has some sort of stat line that is pretty unique. And then obviously more importantly is the 60% from the field. Low volume, but also 48% from 3. Even one of those a game at that clip.
Yeah, you want to talk about Gobert just taking the high-quality shots. Sabonis does that. No,
Sabonis takes high-quality shots. Yes. So I'm surprised you're not going to bat harder for him to make it to the front court.
Well, I look at the Western front court. Yeah, he's going against like guys like LeBron and KD. I think it's just gonna be hard for him to win to say that he's better than them.
Yeah, I think a lot of Kings fans would probably say Sabonis over KD.
Sabonis over KD.
I think.
Do you think that?
I mean, obviously, in terms of player ability, KD is better. Mm-hmm. But in terms of what they've contributed to their teams this year, I think you can make an argument.
You can make the argument, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. But no, I agree. Sabonis, definitely the highlight. 19 rebounds, 8 assists. I should mention, though, that Sabonis always gets a lot of rebounds and assists versus Jokic. Pretty much every center does. It's just a function of how Jokic and the Denver Nuggets defend. They always force it so that the center is forced to pass more. And they also aren't the greatest at like boxing out those rebounds. And the Denver Nuggets in general don't get a lot of offensive rebounds, so the center just gets to feast in terms of their defensive rebounding. But yeah, good game from Sabonis. A little less efficient than I would have liked, but it's fine. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan, by the way, playing better. I agree. It's weird because obviously a coach doesn't just make a player better, but I do think there was friction between Mark Jackson and
Mark Jackson? You mean Mike Brown?
Mike Brown, I'm sorry. Mark Jackson was like the Warriors coach.
Yeah, you had to kick him while he was down, bro. Kick Mike Brown while he was down, bro.
No, Mike Brown, there was friction because he was talking about DeRozan coming off the bench. He had talked about it to DeRozan, and I think DeRozan was not happy with that at all, and I think it affected his – so he started bad, so you brought up benching, and then he continued playing bad, and we talked about this. It's not like the coach is doing anything wrong, but if you're going to keep these players, you probably have to replace the coach just to get that honeymoon phase, just to get rid of all that locker room drama, and I think that was one of it, and I think DeMar DeRozan is playing better because of that. Obviously not enough to win this game, but a good game, 9 of 16. I mean, come on, what can you complain about that? By far, the worst player on the court. Let me tell you a stat line. 7 of 24. That is a lower than 30% field goal percentage. 3 of 10 from 3. Not even that bad. 30%, it's not the worst I've seen. This guy can't hit middies, layups, anything. 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Not bad. 3 or 4 turnovers. Okay, well, not amazing for 6 assists. Not terrible, not amazing. But overall, I think we can conclude that this guy, in a game where you lost by 9 points, it would have been really nice if he went 50%, because then you would have won. You would have won if this guy shot 50%. You would have narrowly lost if he shot even 43 to 47%. Of course, that player being De'Aaron Fox. Absolutely reprehensible game. I don't know what to say. Like, Jokic is not some all-star elite defender. Like, when you're talking about Jokic top 5 all time, I think his offense is definitely top 5 all time and arguably is top 2 all time. His issues are more on the defensive end, where he's not bad. I'm not saying
quite
he's
good
bad.
though. He's underrated as a
He's quite
defender.
good. I agree, but
he anchored that
you wouldn't put him at DPOY level,
that's
right?
true,
That's all I'm saying. So it's not like you're playing against some sort of DPOY level center. Aaron Gordon's off the bench, so he's getting less minutes. Christian Braun, easy to beat on defense. Russell Westbrook, easy to beat on defense. Jamal Murray, not that difficult to beat on defense. And I mean, DeMar DeRozan was going off. Trey Lyles was doing well. Doug McDermott was doing well. Keon Ellis was doing well. I don't know what De'Aaron Fox is doing. You're gonna keep blaming the glute injury. No, this isn't the only bad game. Like, we're talking about the same guy who lost us a pivotal game versus the Detroit Pistons.
You keep bringing that up, just like Mike Brown did.
And he doesn't take over in the fourth quarter nearly as much as he used to. He's not nearly as efficient. And you're saying he's not dealing with injuries. I think ever since he got that ankle injury, I forget the specific game, but we were watching it. He gets the ankle tweaked. He even plays on it. He plays through it. The game, I think, even goes into OT. They lose. I'm unsure on the specifics, but I just watched him play through this pretty bad ankle injury.
Called toughness.
And then he ended up having to take like a month off. So there's your toughness. Yeah. He took a bunch of games off. And ever since
last season he played 70+ games. So
this was like when he missed the majority of those games then, I guess. But he had this ankle injury, and ever since he's come back from that, I just don't see the same shooting from him. He's still not quite as fast as he used to be. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing from De'Aaron Fox.
I think his speed is still there. I don't think his speed is there. I don't think his speed is there at all. No. He's definitely slower. I think you're grasping at straws. No, connect that ankle injury to a loss of speed.
No, you literally watch him come back from that injury, and he's just not the same. And his shooting is not the same either. He's not rising up as well. He's not pulling as many threes. I mean, this game, okay, he pulled 10 threes, but now you're not making a ton of them. But in general, what I've always liked about De'Aaron Fox is that he's not the greatest three-point shooter, but he shoots just enough of them, and he makes just enough of them, especially in the fourth quarter, to keep you guessing, and that's a big part of how he goes on those runs. He'll drive, transition, that's 4 points, boom, pull up from 3, 7, boom, pull up from midi, 9. Now we've got 9 points, and you really can't pinpoint where we're going to attack you from, and he can, you know what I mean, like a 3-level score. He's just doing it all. I'm not seeing that anymore from De'Aaron Fox. And he's just as much of a cone on defense, if not more than ever.
He's not that bad on defense.
He is terrible on defense.
No, he's average.
I don't like his closeouts. I don't like his effort over screens. I don't like how he doesn't really impact the ball handler when he's,
He leads the league in drive stops. What do you think about that? You're talking about his closeout,
I don't care about that stat. That's a fake Mickey stat, bro.
What do you mean? Is cutting off drives not impressive?
Is that not important? Is way more important to cutting off drives than De'Aaron Fox is.
So Sabonis is the one who's in front of the dude blocking him off with his chest.
Sabonis
I didn't know Sabonis could be in two spots at the same time.
Okay,
that's
he's
really
the one
weird.
making up for De'Aaron Fox.
I think drive stop it doesn't matter who's in the paint. Drives only get stopped if you get in front of him.
Russell Westbrook 7 of 10, Christian Braun 8 of 14. Like, come on.
They were hot. What?
Come on. What are we doing?
We were talking about the Spurs.
What are we doing here? You gave up 132 points.
Teams get hot. You bring that
they
all the
time.
Hot.
No, they weren't hot.
Yes, they were.
No, they were 48.5% from the field, 35% from 3. Those are completely reasonable numbers.
Those role players, those specific numbers you mentioned, they could have been.
Yeah, those are the guards that De'Aaron Fox was on.
Okay, well, about Keon Ellis? Keon Ellis was definitely guarding some of them.
No, Keon Ellis was guarding Jamal Murray. He went 8 of 18. Keon Ellis did his job.
Well, I mean,
he held Jamal Murray to under 50% shooting.
Jamal Murray goes under 50% all the time.
Okay, so now Keon doesn't deserve any credit for holding a star.
I love Keon. Okay, you're about to say superstar. Some blasphemy.
Superstar in the playoffs. He's a superstar in the playoffs.
One playoff run, he was a superstar.
That one playoff run will have this man fed for the rest of his life because he did it versus the Lakers. He did it versus the Goat.
Okay, LeBron. That's his name. You can chill out a little bit.
Okay, so you can open it. You can open the segments with your butchered French because you want to ride Wemby. But I say let go, and now all of a sudden,
butchered French. What do you mean?
Yeah,
that was good. That was a good friend. Y'all let me know. Watch the segment. Watch the Spurs versus Pacers segment. Y'all tell me about my friend.
Do yourself a favor. Don't. Do yourself a favor. Don't. Listen, man.
De'Aaron Fox. He didn't want you to watch because he got absolutely cooked that segment too.
I didn't get cooked. So. I set you right on the Frenchman tier list. But listen, De'Aaron Fox, worst offensive player of this game. Absolute cone on defense. Let Russell Westbrook, Christian Braun look good. Didn't like how he looked in transition.
You can't just put all the defensive responsibility.
I'm not putting all of it on him, but Keon Ellis held Jamal down.
Okay, fine.
So it's Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox as the other defensive players.
But the thing is, Fox is average on defense.
He's below average.
No, just because the Nuggets players had a good game, you even talk about it yourself.
Dude, this happens every game.
You talk about it yourself.
Every game.
A player can have a good or a bad game, and sometimes has nothing to do with the defender on him. That absolutely could be the case here today.
You don't want to say it. That was the case
You don't want to say it.
That was the case
You don't want to say it because
Jokic had 35.
didn't match your narrative.
Jokic had 35, and I'm not putting blame on Sabonis. That should show you that I'm not blind to this. I didn't think Sabonis played particularly bad defense. I thought he did his job. It's just hard to stop Jokic. It is not hard to stop Christian Braun and Russell Westbrook.
But
you need to be able to do that if you're the best player on this team.
But it wasn't just Fox's fault. And I'm just saying he's average. All I'm making the
he's
point
not
is
average.
He's not average.
Yes. No, you can't say the guy who lost you the game versus the Detroit Pistons on a defensive breakdown where you hard close out on Jaden Ivey, one of the worst guards in the league, give him a 4-point play. Man, your coach wanted to sock you in that locker room. And you got him fired because of it.
That was one play.
That one play, that 4-point swing is so pivotal. We talk all the time about how one of the big differences between football and basketball is football has these really low sample, high leverage moments. We're talking like 3rd and 8, right? Mm-hmm. You only get so many 3rd and 8 moments. And that really dictates a game. If you convert on that 3rd and 8, your win probability is completely different than if you didn't, right? With basketball, is one of the blessings and curses of basketball. In a 240-point game, 2 points is 2 points, right? But why do we always talk about the fourth quarter? Why do we always talk about the clutch? Because those are the high leverage moments. And De'Aaron Fox was rightfully given credit when he was one of the best offensive players in the entire league in the fourth quarter 2 seasons ago. Now, he is not that guy on offense in the fourth quarter, but I have seen him have defensive breakdowns. I'm only bringing out one because it was the most memorable one. He's had more. Yes, he has.
He does not make a habit of defensive breakdown in the fourth quarter.
He 100% does. He is lazy on defense, especially in the fourth quarter. He does not fight over screens, and he's absolutely letting that team down on defense.
I disagree.
And Denver had 132, and I'm putting that on Fox's head. Your boy is cooked. I don't know who you're going to trade him for. They're talking about Cam Johnson. They might be getting him from Brooklyn. I don't know how they're going to get him. I don't know why they're going to get him. I have no idea what Sacramento's cooking because I don't know. Trade De'Aaron Fox. Trade De'Aaron Fox for Cam Johnson.
You want to stand on that?
I'm going to stand on that. Let Malik Monk be your primary point guard. Sabonis be, his partner. Cam Johnson replace the Herter shooting. But we know
you can't. You need more than one ball handler in this league. So what are you gonna do with Malik Monk?
DeMar DeRozan. You already have DeMar DeRozan.
You want to run the ball through DeMar DeRozan's hands.
Run it through his hands.
Yeah, the playmaker that is DeRozan. Yes, absolutely.
Is De'Aaron Fox some sort of great playmaker?
6 assists per game. DeRozan can't do that. Get the ball to DeRozan. He's isoing on the mid post, high post. DeRozan ISO, midi, turnaround, fadeaway. That's DeRozan's bag.
No, I want Malik Monk can make up for all that. Malik Monk can go give you 10 assists. De'Aaron
Monk got to sit. Monk got to sit.
No, you don't. Malik Monk got to be a starter.
You gonna play 48 minutes? What are you gonna do when he sits?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, just run it through. I think that's fine. And then if you're worried about DeRozan's passing, let's do a spoke offense with DeRozan. Sabonis.
Thing is, people know how to play against Sabonis offense too. He got figured out. That's what that.
Oh, so 7 of 24 didn't get figured out, but Sabonis got figured out.
That's the thing. He had a bad.
The box score beast got figured out.
He had a bad shooting night, but no,
he has a bad shooting night pretty much every night, bro. No, he can't shoot.
No, they literally talked about it. 2 years ago, bring Sabonis in. They used the Spo kind of offense, using him as a pivot. It works amazingly. They get figured out in the playoffs by the Warriors. Coming in next season, their dribbling handoff is nowhere near as effective. And now this season,
because Fox doesn't have speed.
They're not running as many DHOs.
Because Fox doesn't have speed.
De'Aaron Fox being slower is not the reason your dribble handoffs didn't work
100% is.
It's absolutely them being figured out as a team. The schema is just known now. So you can't just go back to it didn't work and we got cooked. And last season, we were in the play-in and couldn't make it into the playoffs. Let's run that back. Let's run that offense back. That makes no sense.
No, dude. They didn't get figured out. You can't just figure out offenses. If you have a good offense, it's a good offense.
So yes,
De'Aaron Fox isn't good enough to hold that offense.
The Sabonis dribble handoff offense is not that good.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Sabonis is not the issue in this pairing at all. Right now,
I love Sabonis.
Who's the worst player in that duo? Who's the worst player in that duo? Say it right now. Say it with your chest, little boy.
I ain't no little boy.
Okay.
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
Sabonis right now.
Sabonis is the worst player right now.
No, he's the better player right now.
Oh, okay. So De'Aaron Fox is the
Fox is better. Usually
what do you mean usually? What do you mean this whole season?
The start of the season, Fox was better. But before this glute injury, Fox was better.
Before the glute injury,
All-Star, yes. Last season, All-Star. This season, All-Star.
He's terrible.
Bro, it's the same thing every time with you haters, okay?
He's cooked.
When he's having a bad stretch, you just jump onto it like vultures. Like you try to make that.
I've been jumping on it from the beginning of the season. No diddy, no pause. Run it straight back.
This thing you hate. Y'all take a 5-game sample size and try to extend it for a man's whole career.
I got 50 games of this man being mediocre.
No. That's just simply not true. You have 35 games of him being really good.
No, you don't. You mean when they were 12 seed?
That wasn't his fault. I told you
that was his fault.
DeRozan was laying bricks. DeRozan was building a house.
So the number one player on the team, according to you, doesn't get the blame. You were just
he was playing well. He was playing well.
He was not playing
yes,
well.
He was.
He was not.
His 3-point shooting was a little low, but besides
it was
that,
terrible. It was say what it was. It was terrible.
No, it was
his
not
passing
great.
was terrible. His defense
passing
was terrible.
good. Defense
was terrible. And Midi was terrible.
No. Fantastic, phenomenal rim finisher. You
down
can never
from last
take that
year.
away from
down
him.
from last year. Down from last year.
70% at the rim, bro.
Down from last year. He was 74% last year.
Ain't nothing down.
He was 74% last year.
He stays up, bro.
No.
He was still amazing at the rim. I don't.
He was worse. He regressed even in his best attribute.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I'm gonna need you to pull up the stats.
Well, the segment's been going on for dang near almost 30 minutes, so we're gonna have to talk about this at another time. But I'm gonna have the stats ready.
But
I'm telling you, he dropped rim field goal percentage on top of getting worse than everything else. His peak is gone. You saw the Darren Fox's peak was losing in 7 in the first round to the Golden State Warriors.
Nah,
boom, that's
he'll be
it.
Back. He'll be back.
Fiend.
He'll be back.
Listen, man. We gotta do the previews now.
Yeah, I think that brings him to a close. You didn't even talk about Jokic. Do you have him as top 5 all time center?
Yeah, of course. I have him over Shaq. Shaq's whiny little
over Shaq.
Man.
Over Shaq.
Listen, if TNT wants to give me the bag, I'll take his bag. But they're not gonna. So I'll say what I really think. Shaq ain't like that. He a baby.
Crazy.
His gameplay. He knows what he left out there. He couldn't pass. Yeah, rebounder. Jokic is just as dominant on the scoring end. Shaq was good, and also like. Look at the time, right? I agree. Jokic needs another chip or two, but
I mean, the very few players have three-peated, and Shaq led that three-peat.
He had Kobe though. He had Kobe.
Yeah,
we got Jamal Murray. We got Kobe at home type.
Okay, that's kind of fair.
Like Jokic is. I don't know that like Shaq lost the MVP to Steve Nash, and he always talks about how he was robbed or whatever. Steve Nash was like that. He was really, really good on offense. Jokic doesn't have like he is clearing the rest of the league. Mm-hmm. Now, where does he finally go? I don't know. I do think it's a bit of a weak era right now for the league, especially in his position. Yeah, especially for big men.
Like center specifically.
Like Shea is great. Giannis is great. Tatum is great.
I would say center specifically because I feel like wings, they're at a whole new level.
Yeah, wings are peaked.
Like,
LeBron led the revolution, and now we have a bunch of great wings. And if Ben Simmons hadn't failed, he would have been great. Like, we just got all these guys coming in. Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, blah, blah, blah. But at the center position with Joel Embiid being how he is, I do think that's one thing that holds Jokic back is the competition argument.
A lack of a rivalry.
Yeah, lack of a rivalry. Like, who's his rival?
Think who was Shaq's rival? Shaq started a trend to bring in 7-foot nobodies just to keep a body on him. And we give Shaq credit for that.
True.
He was so dominant, you just needed any bum to stay in front of him.
Yeah. No.
So Shaq had no equal. Jokic has no equal.
But, I mean, Shaq had, he was, like, playing in the AI era and just a bunch of those players. And then Hakeem had MJ, for example. Kareem was just in the Magic, Larry Bird era. But I agree with you. Position on position, the greats rarely have, like, a number 2. I would say Shaq had David Robinson. I would say that's one that I would put out right there.
David Robinson was good.
Like, if Embiid had been playing and then Jokic beats him, I just think that helps, But I agree. I have Jokic top 5 all time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'd have to think about it. But I agree with your list of Kareem, Hakeem. I probably still have them above him just because of the chips and the longevity.
And defense as well.
And defense. But I think I have Jokic 3rd. And then, you can put Shaq 4th. And then, and it's only because Tim Duncan's moved to the 4 in our discussion. Because Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett both incredibly slept on.
Yo, Tim Duncan clears KG, though.
No, I don't know about that. You guys go back and watch that 2004 season. That both of them were amazing. Like that was. You want to talk about a rivalry? That was like. Imagine you got to see MJ versus LeBron in the same time.
Really?
That's what Tim Duncan versus Kevin Garnett in 2004 and even into 2005 was. And obviously Tim Duncan, great winner. I'm never gonna be able to take that away from him. But I think Kevin Garnett, he just stayed on that bummy roster. And people really only saw him on the Celtics and then on the Nets. He was already past his prime by then. Like on the Celtics, they won in 2008. He was still good then, but like 2004, 2005, just an absolute animal, man. Like, but again, those are all 4, so it doesn't affect Jokic's argument at all. It just,
okay. I think that'll bring this segment to a close.
All right, let's wrap this up. We'll be right back. We only got one preview for today because there's only 3 games, so we picked the